right, folks, we are back here at the Reg-A Money Show for part 2 of this groundbreaking show where we are breaking some serious news here with Ron Costa, myself, and Miguel Boches. Miguel, why don't we continue? Let's talk about why this new act is so important for reporting companies. Just about every company out there can now take advantage of Reg-A. Let's really delve into this and explain it in detail.
Okay, so this is essentially what has happened, Ron. We always talk about leveling the playing field for investors. We talk about leveling the playing field because before the only people that could participate in the raising under 501 would be qualified investors, and then the Reg-A came out, leveled the playing field. That way everybody can get in on a Reg-A offering. Well now the OTC market, or the OTC group, okay, because most publicly traded companies, and this is what people don't understand, most publicly traded companies don't make money on their stock. The people that make money on a publicly traded company's stock is the people who are buying and selling the stock. The company doesn't make any money unless they're doing some type of offering. Now, some of the offerings that you see these public companies do are pipes, private investment in a public entity. It's a pipe, known as a pipe. It's something that's been around for a long time. But again, you get the stock at a discount. Now with Regulation A, you are now able to pitch the crowd. You're able to use the social media, the Twitter, the Facebook, all those platforms that we've talked about, all of the marketers like Crowdfund X and Rise and all the other different platforms that are out there, to be able to issue your stock directly to the market, to new investors, to target new investors. Because in the old way of doing business on the OTC market cap is that companies on the OTC market looking to raise money, they would try to finance debt. They would finance old debt by selling some of their stocks, doing toxic debt formation in the sense of, they would sell some of their debt, and then people would do conversions of debt into their stock. And yes, the company would be able to have an infusion of capital, but their price of their stock would take a hit. But guess what now, Ron? Now with this new enactment, this new act, this beautiful thing called Economic Growth, Regulatory Relief, and Consumer Protection Act has now allowed, as long as you're a reporting company, you can now file the A1 or 1A and then be able to list your stock under a regulation. Now, does that permit the 30%? Can you now have some of the selling shareholders participate in this and take a little bit of an advantage to this? Can these small traded, thinly traded companies now be able to raise more capital through the Regulation A? Yes and yes. Ron, this is like peeling back an onion, and the tears that I'm having right now are not tears of the onion, but tears of joy that Congress and this House of Representatives have been able to see the opportunities that Reg-A has presented to startup companies, and that companies are taking advantage of this. And now we've seen this progression, now allowing publicly traded reporting companies. Now, Ron, you have to be reporting. You have to be audited. You have to have an ability to have your financials presented. I mean, there's a lot of oversight here, but again, there's a lot of regulation here, but again, the opportunity that goes, $50 million are being able to raise. Now there's not going to be a problem, Ron. Now how we were talking with Darren Marble from Crowdfund X about how the next offering is going to hit $50 million. There's not going to be a problem now, because a lot of these OTC companies that have just struggled along because they haven't been able to raise any money, now these companies are going to be coming out of the woodwork to try to raise money with Reg-A. I expect within the next 20 to 30 days, Ron, that the first company, publicly traded company, performs a Reg-A right off the bat. 28 days. I bet you there are attorneys working right now as we speak, churning applications that are going to be submitted by the end of this week. By Friday, you're going to see the very first applications being submitted to the Securities and Exchange Commission, and within 20 days turnaround, by the end of this month, you'll probably see the very first Reg-A from a publicly traded company. Big ones, too. I'm not talking about little guys. I'm talking about big companies.
Yeah, well, you're talking about, again, the $50 million top raise. Just to be clear about that, that's on a 12-month period of time. You could do that over and over every 12 months. Isn't that right?
Yeah, as long as you're continuing to your reporting, yes, you can. My understanding now, you know what we're trying to do, because this news broke just last week, Ron, we're trying to line up some of our trusted legal counsel. We're trying to reach out to Goldfeather. We're trying to reach out to Laura Anthony. Yep. We're trying to reach out to some of the friends of the show, attorneys, to get clarification from our SEC attorney friends to make sure that we're right on target. We will be bringing results and interviews of this groundbreaking legislation with comment and feedback from our legal counsel, SEC attorneys that are just phones are ringing off the hook. We're going to get some feedback from PCAOB auditors. We're also looking to see if we can get some regulatory input from some of the SEC counterparts to see if they will weigh in informally on the show about what this actually means and how the SEC will be looking at this. All this is to come, my friends, as Ron and I peel away the onion that this has now become, and we peel the onion away and get layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of information for you guys out there who have been sitting on the fence. If you have a startup now, if you have a regularly publicly traded company, now you know where to find your information. Now you have to go and do all the research and listen to the 50-some-odd podcasts that Ron and I have put out there for you with all the current information, because now this has all become applicable to your business.
Yeah, and we got to hand it to you too, Miguel. That was pretty impressive. If you go back from one of our shows maybe about a year ago, you predicted this very event. You predicted this was going to happen. So kudos to you on that prediction. You were like right on target. I mean, you didn't bet the Golden Knights at 500 for 1. You didn't do that. But this prediction was right on target. You get props from me on that one for sure. And I wonder, Miguel, now everybody's got to start looking into this Reg-A symposium too, because this is going to just make a lot of more companies want to exhibit there as well, I would imagine. Don't you think?
Ron, whatever venue you booked for the symposium, we have to double it or maybe even triple it in size. Because
you're right.
Because now each CEO, CFO, CTO of every publicly traded company, anybody who deals with OTCQB is going to want to be at the symposium and find out how the symposium and how Reg-A is going to help them and their publicly traded company. I'm telling you, whatever venue we have to multiply. Whatever the ticket costs, if the tickets are costing $1,000 now, you have to raise it to $2,000, Ron, because the information that we have created, the information that we now have has a broader audience. Now and these guys that have been toiling away on the OTC markets, have now find somebody has actually threw them a rope, Ron, and said to them, come on board. This is the Reg-A money. This is the Reg-A money ship, and we're sailing to safe harbor now, because what we have been able to take advantage of, you guys are going to be able to take advantage of. And I'm telling you, these guys are going to be coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
to be able to do this.
They really are. And you know what? I'm sure they're going to have a lot of questions. This is a topic that just screams out for more and more questions. People with questions about this or any part of Reg-A can always go to our website, reg-a-money.com, and there's a drop-down menu there where you can ask a question, and we'll try our best to get it answered on the show. Miguel, that's the way to do it, because we're here as a resource. We're the only people right now that are breaking the story. It's amazing. You go online and no one even knows about this, but we did. So again, another good job by you and me, I guess, that we're bringing this out.
It's always a good job. You're always there. You're always there, Ron. Ron, you have put this in the newsletter. I think that we should put this out in a press release. I think this is so important because people are going to start to realize this actually means. Ron, what ends up happening is this. In this sphere that we're in the Reg-A, right now, we have been on this soapbox for a long time, Ron. And you and I have been toiling away at this for almost 18 months. And I'm going to tell you something, my friend. Because of the support of our listeners, because of the support that the show has gotten, we have been able to do this for our listeners. And our listeners know who I'm talking about. We actually didn't even – you don't understand how bombarded we got with questions this week, but it was too much, guys. It was just too much. Yeah, because with this news and all the questions that we were starting to get, but Ron, right now the sphere is very small. But what has happened right now, my friend, is that this sphere has just been broken out. And, I mean, it is spewing through the Internet right now. It is spewing through social media. It's spewing through newsletters right now. The topic itself has just started to boil over. And I'm telling you, being listening and everybody who's listening to the Reg-A Money Show and has been listening to the Reg-A Money Show, they understand, Ron, because we have brought them always the latest current information on this show, and this is no exception, and you have been part of this the entire time. So this has been, this is just the accumulation of our hard work, the hard work of all those representatives, the OTCQB, everybody's pushing, and finally, Ron, we have pushed past the walls, and now we've broken into the light, okay? We have broken into the light.
Yep. Well, again, folks, we're going to put this out on a press release, this very special podcast. It's fun breaking news like this, Miguel. It makes me feel good about doing the show and helping out our listeners. And speaking of which, you can go to reg-a-money.com, reg-a money.com. That's our website. And you can subscribe, listen to our archived podcast there. As you all know, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on SoundCloud, we're on Spreaker, we're on Stitcher, we're on Alexa. I mean, we're just about everywhere. So we appreciate you listening. Why don't you go out there and listen to all our shows, and we'll be back at you next week with another Reg-A Money Show. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Have a great week.